Yahweh Shemel Shah, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Because all the blessings that we're going to get, which is entailing the kingdom of heaven. Isaiah the 60th chapter, I'm going to start at the 10th verse and read on down. It says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. So the sons of strangers, that's talking about the actual strangers, the other nations, shall build up thy walls. We're going to have them in slavery. So they're going to be building the kingdom of heaven, because we're not building nothing. We're not lifting a hand to move nothing. It says, for in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles. That's talking about the actual Gentiles. We're going to take all of their substance, and that their kings may be brought.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Verse 13, and the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, the box together to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. So the land of Israel, the land of Jerusalem, is going to be made glorious. It's going to be made glorious once again. The kingdom is going to be built up. We had a taste of that during the time of Solomon's reign, which was for about 40 years. Verse 14, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, means monument, the monument of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shalt suck the breasts of kings, meaning we're going to take all their substance. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord thy power, the Lord and thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring thee gold, and for iron I will bring thee silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. And I will make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and the power thy glory. The sun shall no more go down, meaning our kingdom is not going to go down. In other words, once we get back in power, we're going to be in power forever. The sun is never going to go down on our kingdom again. The sun is never going to set on our kingdom. We're going to always shine, and we're going to always be in that glory once we get into the kingdom of heaven. There's no more going back into slavery under the other nations. Esau's not going to rise back up and put us in captivity. Ham, Japheth, Ishmael, none of the other nations are going to rise up and take us down ever again. When we get on top this time, we're going to remain on top. Neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. So no more mourning, no more crying, no more vexation of spirit, no more weeping, no more hopelessness because of the condition that we're in as Israelites right now. Verse 21, thy people all shall be all righteous, they shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Verse 22, a little one shall become 1,000. This is in the kingdom. So what is this talking about? We're going to have sex. Again, like I said, The 2/3 that are going to pass in this destruction, the 2/3 are going to come back through the 1/3 that make it. The Lord said, 2/3 shall be cut off and die, and the third will I bring through the fire. It says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Makakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Makakadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right. And what I want to get into this morning, all right, this edition of Morning News and Prophecy, okay, is dealing with digital property, and, Esau Edom, all right, his mind, he's going to make the earth, his digital property, and that's why he's all about, merging everything with his technology. He wants everything, all right, to be merged in his digital system, everything and everyone. Okay. And people have no idea, all right, that they're being walked into, all right, digital enslavement. Okay. At the promise of a digital utopia. You see, Esau is going to present this thing, you see, as a digital utopia, as another upgrade, there's more convenience, there's more freedom. With AI, and that's why he has people getting so familiar and comfortable with AI, so people in their mind, they're being conditioned, to trust this man's technology, man. Okay. Because as the Lord has this devil, creating all these different crises, we're going to go touch on that as well. That's why I say digital property and more, it's probably going to name most of the morning news and prophecy, and more, because there's always, a few things going on because the Lord is, all right, up in the tempo when it comes to prophecy, man. You see? So this devil, he has people becoming familiar with this technology. You're able to create things, you're able to do videos, it's able to be, if you got a business, you can use it for accounting, you can use it for schedule making, you can use it as a secretary, answer phones. Okay, so people, are becoming, real friendly, with the AI, not knowing that this same technology, okay, is going to be your digital enslavement. Okay, but he's softening it up, by allowing, AI, to be so accessible, okay, to where people are going to be comfortable when it's time for this AI to go under their skin. Because that's basically what you're doing when you take this MOTB. You're allowing the devil to put AI under your skin because that's what you're going to be merged to. Okay, all these different juices. There's a, another. You have another outbreak supposedly of, Ebola now. Okay, so it's like the stage is being set for a lot to be happening at the same time, but the scripture said it would be. Now, I want to get into this, man. And we bring this out, but I went into the definition dealing with peace, man. And shows you that, man, it's time to get Esau out of here, man. It's time to get this nigga out of here, man. That's what it all boils down to. It's time for Esau Edom to be removed from power, man. Okay, when you get Revelation 6:4, it says, and there went out another and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him, and this is Esau, all right, that's set thereon to take peace from the earth. So this is Esau and his power we know a horse goes into power. Okay, so this is Esau, all right, in his seat of power. You know, you're on the horse, you know, it's a place of power. So this is Esau in his place of power. Okay, and within his power, what does he do? He takes peace from the earth. All right, and that they should kill one another. Okay, because these devils always, you know, fall out. All right, even in their own kingdom. Okay, when they're at the peak of their power, they always fall out, man. And that was given unto him a great sword, man, this great weaponry, man, and also his witchcraft, his influence, you know, his psychological warfare. Okay, but when you go into this word peace, all right, in the Greek, oh, all right, you go into this word peace, you know, it shows you that this nigga is the problem of the earth, man. All right, so when you go here, so when you get this word peace, let's see.
Strong's G 1515. Irene. Irene.
Irene. Irene. All right. In the Greek, and it says state of national tranquility, man, which is peace between the nations. You know, that's peace between the nations, man, the state of national tranquility, man. It said exemption from the rage and havoc of war. Exemption from the rage and havoc of war. All right. And remember, this is the opposite of what Esau was. He's here to take this away from the earth, man. Okay, man, it's a lesson within itself, man. But we'll get into it now. Hey, you see, we'll get into it now. All right. It says a state of national tranquility, exemption from rage and havoc. All right, of war, peace between individuals, i.e., harmony, concord, man. So from national tranquility to peace between individuals, man. So on every level, this man is here to take all peace from the earth, man. Exemption from the rage and havoc of war, man. This nigga loves war. You know, he benefits from it, man. You see? But see, this war, he's not going to benefit. Okay? He's going to be able to, you know, get some things done for the sake of prophecy, man. But he's not going to benefit like he used to benefit from this war, man. Okay? It says security, safety, prosperity, felicity. All right? Because peace and harmony make and keep things safe and prosperous. You see that? And this is the peace that he takes from the earth. Any type of harmony, prosperity, he takes that away from the earth. Okay? So this nigga gotta get out of here, man. He's the problem, man. You read this definition, you like, damn. All right, but then you gotta go back to the beginning, because how did the Lord have it at the beginning? And we go into this a lot. Okay. Let's go to Genesis 2:7. All right, it says, and the Lord power formed man from the dust of the ground. All right, this is Adam. Okay, which you know this Adam to be Yahushua. Okay, and breathed into his nostril the breath of life, and man became a living soul. All right, he breathed into him what? The Kakodash, the Holy Spirit, which is the wisdom, you know, laws, statutes, and commandments, and the influence of righteousness from on high. Okay, and he was given it to do what? Verse 15, and the Lord, all right, took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. Okay, and you go into this word, all right, to keep. Okay, because remember, Esau takes peace from the earth. Well, what was Adam tasked to do? Okay, and see, this is what we're going to be doing at Joint Heirs with Yahushua, man. We're going to be tasked to keep, to shamar, okay, in the earth, man. So you go into the Hebrew word shamar, which is what it says: to keep, to guard, to observe, to keep and guard, to observe what? Righteousness. Okay, it said to keep guard, to keep watch and ward, to protect, to save life. Okay, so you see, it's the complete opposite of this devil, man. Okay, the complete opposite, man. Okay. So Adam was given the charge to observe and to guard righteousness in the earth, man, to guard peace in the earth. Okay, to protect and save life in the earth, man, through administrating righteousness, man. You see, it was a serpent, all right, which is Eve, all right, who came and caused havoc and brought havoc to the game, okay, to the point where you go here, you see, you'll let the spirit do what it do. Let's go here because even Esdras, all right, he was complaining. You go to Second Esdras, he was complaining about Esdras was complaining about captivity. He was worrying about the promises. He trying to figure out about Adam. Esdras was going through it. Esdras was going from one extreme to another. He was going through it. He was asking some heavy questions though. But when you go to Second Esdras 7:48, Esdras in his frustration, he says, "Oh, thou Adam, what hast thou done?" You see, because when Adam fell, man, hey, that standard dropped, man, and wickedness was able to begin to reign in the earth, man. Okay, it says, "Oh, thou Adam, what hast thou done? For though it was thou that sinned, thou art not fallen alone, but we all that come of thee." Okay, because Adam's fall, they created a power vacuum for the wicked to begin to have influence in the earth, man. Okay, to take peace from the earth, man. Okay, because going back, matter of fact, let's go back to it. Because when you go into the beginning, you see, and we're gonna get to some new, but hey, this the main focal point. Okay. Because when you go, and we always just go into that word in the beginning, because what was he protecting? Okay, you have to ask, okay, what was he to protect and to observe? Because you go into creation, okay, itself, when Elohim was creating, okay. So let's go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 10. It says, "And Elohim called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called, all right, he the seas, and Elohim saw that it was good." Now, when you go here, we always get it. So you go into this word, all right, good. Because what was he protecting, man? You see? It's the Hebrew word to wild. All right. And it says good. It says what? Pleasant, agreeable. Okay. It says agreeable to the senses, pleasant to the higher nature, good, excellent of its kind. All right. It says good, rich, valuable. Okay. It says glad, happy, prosperous, of man-centered nature, good of understanding of man's intellectual nature. Okay. Good, kind, ethical, of good thing, benefit, welfare, prosperity, happiness, okay, moral good. And this is what Adam was given to protect, okay, what was established from the beginning, which was welfare, property, prosperity, happiness, benefit. The earth was supposed to be a benefit, okay, not a burden. On the Esau, everything's a burden. Okay, the things that was created to be enjoyable, pleasurable, agreeable, he's made these things to be a burden, man. Okay, the complete opposite, man. And that's why the Lord is getting ready to get rid of this nigga, man. You see, because Esau is the problem, okay, of the planet Earth, man. You see, and until this nigga is removed, okay, the Earth is going to be in turmoil, man. So that's the only, and that's why anyone is talking without the solution, because we listen to a lot of different, things, a lot of information, a lot of alternative news, and different people. But one thing, they can address the problem, okay? But see, no one really wants to go into what the solution is, and that's getting this nigga out of here, man. Packing this nigga up, man. Okay? Hey, may this nigga don't have a chance to do a tenth of that shit that he want to do, man. All these, agendas and this and that, and yeah, no, man. The Lord finna pack this nigga up, man. That's why the Lord is forcing him to come on with his agenda, man. Come on with his sea help. Okay, because he once that's mandated, once he crashed this thing and he mandates that seal, man, like the floodgates of judgment gonna open up. Okay, let's get this real quick. Proverbs 28 and 15. It says a roaring lion, all right, and it says as a roaring lion and a raging bear, so is the wicked ruler over the poor people. And this man creates a society, that creates perpetual poverty, man. Okay, this man has created an economy, a society that creates perpetual poverty. Because when people are impoverished, they're vulnerable, all right, and they're vulnerable to his wickedness, man. Okay, he makes it to where the most of the people are vulnerable to his wickedness, man. Okay, he tries to destroy all the food that you have access to. He tries to destroy the mind of people, so everyone is, at war with each other. All this division, the psyop. So this man, he loves to keep people in a poor state because that gives him all the leverage. Okay, verse 16 says the prince that wanted understanding. So someone is lacking in understanding, a ruler that is lacking in understanding, is also a great oppressor because he lacks the understanding and the qualities of a righteous ruler. Okay, so by default, since he's lacking in that understanding, he's also a great oppressor, man. Okay, and that's all this man kingdom is about: is pressing more and more, squeezing more and more, man. Okay, he said, but he that hateth covetousness shall prolong his days. Okay, and that's what the Lord, is and that's the characteristic with Jake. Because it's not in our spirit to be covetous, man. These are things we learned from this nigga, man. But there's a remnant, all right, that's being groomed to rule in righteousness, man. Okay, as the Lord's getting ready to take this nigga out, man. So let's get into a little bit of this news. So let's go here first, all right, because as there's been this kickback with the data centers, all right, and this is a pretty good interview. It's pretty long, about an hour and 23 minutes, but we're gonna play a few minutes of it. Move around, all right. But way to put it in the description box, so all right, is there's been a uptick, okay, and people being against these data centers. So now he's getting ready to set the stage to where, these data centers are going to be considered national security. Okay, that they have to, further advance in these data centers, so they won't fall behind and be, militarily vulnerable to these other nations that's advancing in this AI. Mainly China. Okay, so let's play this, and just go into what these devils are getting ready to frame.
Data centers, and I don't know if you want to make any point before I continue.
No, please continue.
So we always talk about how the war comes back home. You can call it the sociological theory of the imperial boomerang or whatever. But the bottom line is, during the Iran war, when Larry Fink talks about building up Gulf defense infrastructure, is because it was insufficient. Was able to zone with deep ordnance, get past large sectors, hit data centers, hit refineries, potentially desalination plants if this kicks off again in the Gulf. But a couple of Amazon hard sites and other AI hard sites, including Amazon's AWS center in Qatar, got hit. Mm-hmm. And so this data center was massive. It had a bunch of civilian use, like healthcare information on the clouds, government administration stuff on the clouds, financial information, but it also had massive military use. So every time going forward, a lot of these data centers, both outside and inside the continental United States, are dual use facilities, which means they have a civilian function because, Dropbox doesn't just, have civilian functionality. It also has military functionality. Amazon, all of the war crimes in Gaza, it was the most heavily surveilled genocide that we don't even have access to. Every single kinetic strike, hundreds of thousands of them that took place in Gaza, they live on an Amazon cloud. So all of these cloud-based data centers throughout the world, and especially in the United States, have dual use functions, civilian and military. So now it's a matter of national security to secure these data centers, because each one of them has a military function that's integrated into the Pentagon, and how the Pentagon in the future will wage modern warfare. So if you attack these data centers, you protest against them, you're going on a list and you're going to be targeted, potentially, not yet, because they need to build more and more consensus for this, as a domestic terrorist. And now, actually, because they've now labeled it as a national security threat, like any sort of resistance, any sort of red tape that local bureaucracies and local administrations on the township level or the district level will potentially, and we're seeing this in Utah, just be bulldozed over. So Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, Canadian billionaire, apparently, he's building this massive monstrosity of a data center in rural Utah. And there's been a huge backlash to it. And he was recently talking to Tucker Carlson, and his choice of hat has been, I don't know if he's talking to Tucker Carlson. Tucker may have spliced himself into it. But his choice of hat was very interesting. Adding to stage, there's Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank wearing a hat that says Utah National Security.
Yeah, man. So now that these devils are deeming these data centers national security, now you can be deemed a terrorist, okay, from protesting. Okay, and see, this is what these data centers are really for, because there's gonna come a time when, ain't gonna be no Chat GPT, Grok, for you to make, your pictures and videos, because that ain't what the data centers are for. Okay, they for running this control grid, okay, for enforcing, okay, the laws of the New World Order, okay, and the social credit system, all right, for surveillance, for computing, okay, for your, for setting, your programmable money, okay. So those data centers, okay, are already, integrated into what? The Pentagon, okay, it's military, man. You see, because the New World Order is going to be a totalitarian police state. Okay, that's going to be the New World Order. You see, and let's go here. So you can watch the interview, some pretty good info, through the whole interview. They do pretty good. I think they got I forgot his name already, but I know he's an ex-Army Ranger, so he has the Special Forces military background, so he got a pretty unique perspective. I think the old girl, Alima, if I'm saying her name, I think she's an Iranian investigative journalist. So they make pretty good content together. All right, but let's go here real quick just to show you, just an uptick on people being against these data centers, man. Because this is what he was talking about. This guy Kevin O'Leary. So the people in Utah are pissed, man. Okay, this man talking about building a data center 2.5 times the size of Manhattan. God damn. And they're doing it with taxpayer money. Okay, the taxes pay for this, man. The taxes pay for all his military equipment, all his military campaigns, all these data centers. Okay, all the CIA, everything is come out of taxes, man. The profit that they make profit off tax money. Part of these people's wealth is that the system is set up where they don't spend anything, man. Okay? The collective poor pay for everything in this society, man. You look it up, America collects $5.1 trillion in taxes a year. Okay, that's why they're able to have a $800 trillion military budget. Okay, that's why they're able to fund $70 billion data center. Okay, because it comes out their tax money and any profit that they make, okay, off tax money goes to these oligarch families, man. This is a very wicked system this nigga got running, man. Okay, now let's play some of this.
Commission in Utah last night. So that's the 3-0 vote. 40,000 acres. It would be 2.5 times the size of Manhattan.
Ooh,
Holy
exclusive.
F. The commission approved the proposal despite this kind of opposition.
False. All of this is false. Then why won't they let people talk? Why won't they let us act quick? It's false. This is not real information. And we sit here like it's okay. It's a charade. It's a charade. It's false.
And Baba Kashah, if a brother can post that in 2nd Ezra, they should not regard their kings and princes. Okay. And also, what's that, 2nd Ezra 9, uproars of the people. Okay. Because these are these different, local city officials. All right. Which would be likened to princes. They're in the place of authority over the people. Okay. So it's going to come a time when, these town hall meetings, all right, these people ain't going to be coming to talk. Okay. Especially as these people begin to lose everything, the squeeze gets tighter, man. All right. And you local officials that, that are in arm's reach of these citizens, man. So let's play this, man. And play a little more of this.
We're Phoenix Energy of Montana.
So those are the people who Kevin O'Leary said invited them in and wanted it. And what they're doing there is the county commissioners are 100% bribed and corrupted. They're criminals. And that's how everything works in the United States. Our whole government is bribed criminals. And that's why you still go bankrupt when you get sick. You're buried under mountains of debt just to get a college education so you can get a job. And now they're bringing data centers in to take your jobs away when you graduate with mountains of debt. So that's Kevin O'Leary trying to say they want it. Okay, that those people don't want it. By the way, that guy, the cops arrested him.
Okay, and
just so you know, the cops arrested that guy
God.
because don't forget, the
Terrorism.
cops always side with the business owners. The cops are not your friends. They always side with the capitalists. They always side with the oligarchs. The cops are always going to side with them. They're not on your side. The cops work. They're not there to keep you safe. They're there to protect capital.
You know what helps? Because to prevent revolutions, you remember how Lenin he had the cops on his side in the military.
That's right.
That. So that's why you want to have a good event to clear them out and not bring them back at the same pay rate. Like a defund the police. And then all those cops leave and you got new cops that are going to be there for you to mold for the new oligarchs.
I think it's important to identify the commissioners that approve this. And it's Lee Perry, Tyler Vincent, and Boyd Bingham. Those are the 3 people that were responsible for destroying this community.
Oh, so here, show this. What's their names, Steph?
Lee Perry, Tyler Vincent, and Boyd Bingham. And official stances, Commissioner Lee Perry argued the vote was about upholding personal property rights, while Tyler Vincent noted that the landowners should be able to do what they want with their property.
So he told those people who were protesting to grow up. Let's see if I have a video of it.
Those are criminals.
For hell's sakes, grow up.
Yeah, man. So you got these county commissioners, which, they're bought and paid for. Them billionaire techs come in, shoot them a few $100,000, $1 million or $2 million, whatever. All right. Whatever these niggas go for. Okay. And they let these oligarchs come in and do what they want to do. And then they say these guys want to show some type of integrity and, reject, the bribe. Well, they're just going to say national security, eminent domain, and they're going to build it anyway. All right. Esau doing what the hell he want to do, man. Okay. Because he on assignment. Just like we on assignment on the right-hand side. Okay. Esau, he's on assignment. Okay. All right. And he looking at you country bumpkins. All right. Like, nigga, we building this. This is what it is. Like, we're going we ask you for courtesy, all right? But nigga, you try to play this integrity, this moral game, nigga, you just gonna take it. Okay? And then one of these commissioners, he told this crowd for the grown people to grow up, man. Okay? Like I said, it's gonna come a time when they gonna come in here. You see these Edomites, man, okay? That's in on reach of these citizens. See, it's gonna come a time when these people have less and less to lose when they just because the way everything going, everybody finna be in crash out mode, man. Okay, and when these people reach the point of crash out, okay, they not coming to talk to these men. Okay, they gonna be tearing niggas out of suits. Okay, the way things going. All right, so let's segue to another video. And really, this the main one I want to get into. All right, yeah, this the one, which this one here pretty. Like I gotta watch the rest of it pretty long, but when we got to this part, and I'll go ahead and put this in. Now this one pretty long, but this guy Patrick Wood, which he OG when it comes to the technocracy, so he has a lot of good material. You can just watch different videos and you'll be, up to par with this technocracy. But when you go here, let's get on a few precepts. Yeah, this is brother servants of Yahushua 144, second Ezra 15 and 16. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power, man. Because once these people, reach a point to where they just spaz out, crash out, ready to lose it. Okay, once they lose it, all right, because they have nothing to lose. Okay, they can start getting at these people, man. These little local officials that's, that's with, these oligarchs coming in and just doing what they want to do, these big tech companies, man. Okay. No, man, they gonna start getting active with these guys, man. Okay, like I said, they're not gonna come to the town hall meeting, okay, to voice an opinion. Okay, they're gonna be coming to these meetings with the shit. So this is what things are trending, man, and we're constantly seeing these things. And scriptures speak about, like, we go here, the uproars of the people. Okay, brother posted, you see. Yep, because these local officials have sold, all right, these everyday Edomites out to the oligarchs, man. There's nobody working for you, man. Federal level, the state level, the county level, the city level. There's nobody working on your behalf. Okay, and if someone tries to work on behalf of the people, he out of there. They out of there, man. Okay, and they don't have no real power. Okay, to stop. All right, these devils. When I say brother can post that as well, the uproars of the people. There's a second Ezra 9, 1 through 3, Bible shot. All right, it's the brother GMSDC, Taza Dagda Yara, Isaiah 19 and 2. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom, man. And also, all we're going to see is more division, different division amongst the classes, okay? Divisions amongst, the political ideology. All we're going to see is just constant division. All right, the division is going to grow into violence. Okay, but this is the system that this devil is getting ready to plug people into. All right, he's going to paint it as a digital utopia. Okay, but this is going to be the reality that this devil is going to plug the masses into, man. And this devil, he changes words and uses this word play, and because he's very crafty when it comes to putting a title on something, making it sound like the opposite of what it is. Okay, like the term peacekeeping troops. Okay, peace. I'm sending peacekeeping troops. Wait a minute. If you want peace, why are you sending troops? Okay. You see, but this how the devil sends. All right. This how the devil plays with words, man. And this is gonna be an example of it. So let's play this.
The State Department has a formal name for the architecture being built right now: Pax Silica. It is a US-led framework designed to secure the supply chains and physical infrastructure of artificial intelligence. The diplomatic negotiations happening between world leaders are over physical geography. They are mapping out who controls rare earth elements, trade corridors, and the heavy hardware that runs the code. This diagram outlines the 6 layers of that architecture. At the foundation are critical minerals and energy grids. Above that sits compute and semiconductor fabrication, followed by network infrastructure, consumer devices, capital allocation, and finally, the financial rails that process transactions. The compute layer relies entirely on accelerator and GPU hardware. Pax Silica. It is a US-led framework designed to secure the supply chains and physical infrastructure of artificial intelligence.
So it says a US led. Okay, so all these different nations, they're fighting, for a seat at the table. Okay, or this new world order. Okay. So this is what these nations are getting ready to fight over. Who's going to actually run the system? Who's going to be the top dog in this new system, or top dogs in this new system? Okay, and this is what this war, all right, is going to escalate into these nations trying to cancel each other out, man. Okay, so let's play a little more. I want to get into those 6 points you brought up. Hold on.
The diplomatic negotiations happening between world leaders are over physical geography. They are mapping out who controls rare earth elements, trade corridors, and the heavy hardware that runs the code. This diagram outlines the 6 layers of that architecture. At the foundation are critical minerals and energy grids. Above that sits compute and semiconductor fabrication, followed by network infrastructure, consumer devices, capital allocation, and finally, the financial rails that
So you have the minerals and energy. All right, and this is what you see, these conflicts are about today. Okay, as America, they went and subdued, all right, Venezuela for what? Minerals and energy. Okay, and then they went to, pull the same move with Iran. Okay, but it didn't work like they wanted. Okay, and it swung power to the other side, the kings of the East. Okay, so you have, this conflict going on with the rare earth, the lithium, the energy grids, the oil. Okay, so you have, these actual conflicts, and they're being manipulated, all right, by, the elites, all right, to create a collapse, which at the end of the day, it all play in our favor. The conflict that they having over, the energy and the manipulation, okay, of these events to bring about a collapse, it all play in our favor, man. Okay, it says the computer and fabs, okay, and also the network infrastructure, which is data centers. Okay, that's why I say everything you've been hearing about the data center, man. This is the infrastructure. Okay, and this is what do with all the computing. Okay, and then you go to the 4th one, the consumer devices, which the smartphones are going to turn into what? The C-HIP. Okay, and the different, the actual cameras. Okay, the actual surveillance, which a lot of people, the Ring camera, these different, because that's the thing now. People have, a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with you having cameras on the house, but there's they're gonna be, all right, converted to digital infrastructure. Okay, for surveillance, you see. And then you get into, the financial rails and the capital allocation, which, the system of payment, what's going to be the system that's going to finalize the payments and move, assets and money around. Because right now it's the American system, mainly the SWIFT. Okay. But, the other side, the kings of the East, like, nigga, we doing something different this time. We not doing that shit. And American, hell no. Okay, as America showed themselves to be some whole ass niggas when they, all right, had the when they had the juice. You see, so yeah, just wanted to touch on those 6 things, and this is what we see. All right, these conflicts are about. Okay, and it's just going to continue to escalate. All right, and this whole thing with Pax Silica, Pax goes into peace. You had this thing called Pax Romana, or Peace of Rome. Okay, so he's saying that this technocracy is going to bring peace, prosperity to the earth. The things that he was created to take away from the earth, he's telling you that giving him more control, he's going to bring peace to the earth. Okay, and if you believe that, all right, you deserve, okay, everything that come with it. So let's play this.
Process transactions. The compute layer relies entirely on accelerator and GPU hardware. This puts the corporate executives who manufacture and control that physical architecture squarely at the center of modern statecraft. Financing fabrication plants, data centers, and undersea cables requires immense funding. Asset managers and financial institutions provide the capital to build the infrastructure, and they establish the payment networks to monetize it. All of this builds a global operating system. The question is, what happens to the individual within it? We have to ask if this structure treats people as independent actors or as subjects to be managed. Human independence inside this new infrastructure comes down to a single word: property. This visualization shows how modern law defines private property merely as a title held by consent. This allows a person to own a fractional digital token that pays a yield, while giving them zero authority over the actual asset. A fund manager or an administrator sits in between. Sovereign property is something entirely different. It is unmediated authority over a productive asset. The owner has the direct right to use it, exclude others from it, and make decisions about it without a smart contract or corporate layer in the way. Legal title gives you a stream of passive income. Sovereign property gives you actual autonomy. Mistaking a legal claim for true sovereign ownership creates a blind spot. It allows the architecture of the AI age to convert independent citizens into managed tenants, while leaving them with the illusion that they still own their assets. History shows a recurring pattern with political concepts. A prestigious word is kept alive, but the substance beneath it is quietly replaced. The word still commands respect, even as it licenses a completely different reality. John Locke performed this operation on the concept of natural law. He stripped away its original meaning, which was rooted in the real natures and ends of things, and replaced it with a system based entirely on human will and consent. Because legitimacy became based purely on consent, the actual substance of property, which is control, could be legally unbundled. An owner could consent to sign away their authority to intermediaries piece by piece. Traditional legal frameworks were built to guard against physical seizure. When property is hollowed out through voluntary individual contracts, the alarms never ring because no visible coercion takes place. This liquidation of autonomy happens impersonally. Capital simply flows into the definitional gaps left by a system that only measures consent. This legal vulnerability maps directly onto the Pax Silica architecture. The new hardware and software layers require a system where ownership can be separated from control. Domestic legislation creates the legal framework for this separation. Bills framed as providing regulatory clarity for digital assets, like the Clarity Act, actually create the statutory machinery to make assets trackable, programmable, and censorable. Through tokenization, smart contracts, and click-wrap agreements, true ownership is converted into user access. This access is conditional, revocable by system administrators. At the top of this machinery, sovereign domain technocratic boards are being established. These bodies are designed to manage commerce and capital across borders, operating outside of existing frameworks like the UN or the WTO. People who fiercely defend the modern definition of private property are often defending the exact legal mechanism being used to strip away their independence. Autonomy is liquidated voluntarily. A nation of sovereign owners is converted into a class of passive rentiers, managed by a technocratic layer that controls the assets. The authors of the Declaration of Independence recognized this definitional trap. They chose the phrase the pursuit of happiness instead of property to anchor rights in human flourishing, rather than in a vulnerable legal title. They drew on an older philosophical tradition. Aristotle argued for autarkia, the material self-sufficiency of a household. He held that this material independence is the strict precondition for a person to stand as a free citizen, rather than a dependent. They relied on James Harrington's observation: political power strictly follows the distribution of property. If property concentrates into the hands of a few intermediaries, the regime becomes an oligarchy. The optics of democracy might remain, but the underlying power structure shifts. Finally, they applied Scottish common sense realism, which insists that foundational rights are objective realities. They are not constructs that can simply be redefined or contracted away by human will. Together, these principles prove that political freedom requires the wide distribution of real, unmediated property. Holding a fractional yield is not enough to maintain a free commonwealth. The tokenized private property driving the AI stack offers the population a stream of income, but it strips them of their independence, running opposite to the founder's design. Defending against this operation requires a conceptual correction. We have to start using the term sovereign property. Sovereign property plainly names the unmediated authority over an asset. It is a tangible reality that is too solid to be hollowed out by a fund manager or buried in a smart contract. The physical architecture of the AI age is rapidly locking into place. The groups who define property will dictate the shape of the regime. Reclaiming the true definition of property is the only way to ensure the people living on the rails of this new civilization remain sovereign actors, rather than its permanent, managed tenants.
And there's nothing that the people can do within their own power, all right, to reverse, all right, what the devil is doing. So basically, all right, is when you go into it. So when you go into sovereignty, so true sovereignty or autonomy, all right, is you being able to do what you want with your assets. Okay, like if you have true assets, you got land, all right, you got agriculture on that land, you got livestock on that land, all right, you can go slaughter your cow when you get ready, all right, and have meat for your family. Okay, that's true sovereignty. Okay, that's true autonomy. You see, but what these devils want to do, all right, they want to strip everyone from actual resources and give you digital credits. Okay, and with those digital credits, all right, you are getting permission. Okay, you get permission to assets. All right, and it's their assets, man. Okay, it's their assets. They want to own all the actual assets and give you digital credits, and they want you and your access to true assets depends on what your social behavior. You know, so they're creating a system, like I said, where you will own nothing and be happy. You'll just be a managed tenant. Okay, you won't have any true sovereignty. You won't have any true liberty. Okay, everything you do, okay, will be will be permission based. Okay, you have to ask permission for everything because you won't own nothing. Okay, you have to ask for permission for everything, and that goes into this precept in the book of Sirach. I think it's called a mean cottage. It's better to be in a mean cottage than in a wide house. Okay. Let's see. Try to find that precept. Yeah, but basically they want to turn you into digital slaves, man. You know, but they're going to present it as if utopia. They're going to present it as if everybody owned everything. You know, like it's a group ownership. No, it's the ownership of a few. All right, and the many have to, okay, comply with the few to have access, okay, to life, man. He want to spoon feed you your existence, man. Okay, at the promise that this is transcendent. You know, that's why he tell you these lies like the brain chip. You're gonna be able to know karate and jujitsu. You're gonna know how to box And like Mayweather, you're gonna be able to jump and you're gonna be able to do this, you're gonna be able to download languages. That nigga is lying, man. It don't work like that. Okay, and if it did, he would have. Okay, if it worked like he say it worked, he would have. Okay, but they need to sell you a dream. Okay, they need to sell you a nightmare as a dream. They need to sell you, all right, death is life. Okay, they need to they want to sell you slavery as liberty and freedom. Okay, this is how the devil does, man. Okay, so let's see if I can I'm gonna find this real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and set up the next one real quick video. This will be, I think this is the last one. You know, because this nigga just all over the place. Okay. Let's see. So when you go into the book of Sirach, it's we'll get a couple more to come in more. Yeah, for brother, get with it. Sirach 29, 22. Oh yeah, the brother got him. The water, bro. Yep. But let's get this real quick. This is brother Yashima tribe of Judah. This is Sirach 29 and 22. It says, better is the life of a poor man than a mean cottage. All right, because you're a poor man, but in a mean cottage is your mean cottage. It means you have sovereignty, man. Okay, you might have a little, vineyard, a little small vineyard, but guess what? You can make your own wine and you can drink it how you want. Okay, you don't have to ask permission. All right, you might have you a few sheep and goats. Well, guess what? You can slaughter them to your liking. According to what you can, what you can afford. You don't have to ask for permission. So it might not be much. Okay, you might have a little, herb garden on the side. Okay, you can see, you got a little porch you can sit on. Hey, it's yours. You can move. It's yours. You don't have to have permission to move around on your cottage, man. Okay, it says better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house. Yeah, because Esau, all right, he wants to put people in these smart cities, man, where you have to ask for permission to move around. Your money is programmable. You programmable. You can only buy this and buy that. So it's got the high tech and this, it's all the digital screens and this and that. They got all this money into it, but this is another man's house. So you have to ask for permission to do everything. That's why it's better to have a little piece of sovereignty, all right, than to be a slave, around all this technology, man. And that's why you see people leaving the cities. People are going into homesteading. People are turning sheds, into houses. Okay, they're like, well, I just rather have a little piece of mind, a little piece of freedom than all this BS, man. Okay. So now, man, this devil, he's trying to set up a system, okay, to where yeah. He's trying to set up a system, man, to where you have to ask this nigga permission for everything, man. Okay. Let's go here. Yep, this one too. It says this is Sirach 40 and 28. It says, my son, this is brother GMS Times of Doc. GMS DC Times of Doc Yara 144. This Sirach 40 and 28 says, my son, lead not, okay, a beggar's life, for better it is, all right, to die than to beg, man. And he wants a system set up to where you just perpetually begging this nigga for everything, man. Okay, it's basically what the devil is trying to set up. He wants to make everyone a perpetual beggar. Okay, It says, because this nigga, and Esau got a low self-esteem, all this power and money this nigga got a real low self-esteem, man, because this is low self-esteem behavior, man. Okay, to want all these people to be dependent on you like that, man. This Sirach 40:29 said the life of him that dependent on another man's table is not all right to be counted for life, man. You know, that's why I say, man, there's no way, especially as a man, you can have any integrity or honor as a man and be okay with this system, man. Like, nah, man, we rather go back to the spiritual realm. You know, a system where you got to beg this nigga for everything. Okay, this system now is hell. So a system that's even worse than this. Okay, so for he polluted himself with another man's meat, but a wise man, well nurtured, will beware thereof. Yeah, and see, we're becoming these wise men, and we're well nurtured by this word, man. And we peep this nigga, man. You know, he wants to create a whole nother level of slavery, man. Nah, man, damn it. You know, a system where you got to beg this nigga for everything, man. Okay, yep. Verse 30 saying this is going to be the masses of the people. Sirach 40:30 says, begging is sweet in the mouth of the shameless, man. And a lot of people, they have no shame. They don't mind going to this nigga for the want of all things, okay? And getting life spoon-fed to him according to this nigga liking, man. Okay? But in his belly, all right, there shall burn a fire, man. And that fire ultimately going to be the nukes that's going to come, man. All right? Because if you no mind, okay, this system, okay, you're okay with this system, and you're gonna go get that sea hill, man. You're gonna be out of here, man. Okay. So let's get this, man. This is another, you know, it shows that this nigga's all over the place, man. So now who declares a Ebola outbreak? So let's just play a little bit of this, man.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The World Health Organization declared a global health emergency Saturday due to the rapid spread of Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And
just Bob Bashar, brother, can get that some rock 10 and 10, Bob Bashar.
Saturday due to the rapid spread of Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. The announcement came a day after the African Union's Public Health Agency said it confirmed Ebola infections in the DRC's northeastern province of Ituri, where 87 deaths and hundreds of cases of illness have been reported. Cases have also been confirmed in Kampala, Uganda's capital. At least 4 healthcare workers are among the dead. In a statement, the WHO said the outbreak is potentially much larger than what is currently being detected and reported. This is WHO Director of Health, Emergency Alert and Response Operations, Abdurrahman Mahmoud.
Well, we know very well that the country has experience, but the region where it is happening is highly volatile with the humanitarian situation going on and the population moving around from South Sudan to Uganda and other parts. So our response is to stand with the regional government, and the country neighbor in terms of solidarity to show again that they can control this outbreak.
Ebola causes severe hemorrhagic fever and is often fatal. There's no approved vaccine for the species of Ebola responsible for the current outbreak. This all comes as the World Health Organization is coordinating the international response to the outbreak of the Andes strain of the hantavirus, which began on a Dutch cruise ship. The MV Handias has docked in Rotterdam, where the ship's crew will self-isolate. There are 3 confirmed deaths and at least 11 confirmed cases, where dozens more are being monitored. As of Sunday morning, there were no known cases of hantavirus in the United States. For more, we go to Providence, Rhode Island, where we're joined by public health professor and emergency medicine physician, Dr. Craig Spencer, also himself an Ebola.
Yeah, man. So what is this nigga doing, man? You know, Ebola back. You see, it's just time to get this nigga out of here, man. You know, it's time to pack these Edomites up, man. That's the only solution, okay, that's gonna suffice. Okay, is getting this nigga out of here. So this the brother Mark Ball. All right, Sirach 10:10 said the physician cutteth off a long disease, man, and the physician is Yahweh Shah. Okay, and you see they running with the same, narrative. There's no juice for it. All right, so there's another, a pestilence. Okay, that has no cure. So he's, so that opens up the narrative for outbreak. So yeah, man, hey, Lord willing, man, and Lord willing, hey, the Lord really called something, to shoot off, man, faster than what this nigga got going on. Really get this nigga going. You see? Because this nigga done went back to Ebola, man. Okay? So may the Lord really cause some events, man, and really make this thing take off, man. But it's all in the Lord's timing, because we still, got work to do. We still got to grow, and get ready for these times, man. But the spirit is on us to haste for the day. Okay? But yeah, man, the physician is Yahweh Shai, and he's getting ready to cut this nigga off, man. The Esau is the disease of he is the disease, man. Okay? Ebola, all right? You see, it says, and he that is today a king, tomorrow shall die, man. So it's time for this man to be removed from all authority and power, put into captivity, and just completely cut out the earth after 1,000 years, man. That's the only thing that makes sense dealing with Esau, Edom, man. Nothing else, all right, will suffice. Okay. So just the point, just want to touch on a few things this morning. So Lord will, all right, you brothers, all right, and you few sisters were edified once again. We give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutation to the hopeful Shalom.